Welcome to another edition of the Light Vision Project. My host today has been a practicing chiropractor in Nebraska for 17 years. He tells me that what he loves most is seeing the light bulb come on the face of a patient, but also for the last number of years, doing the same thing with chiropractors, helping chiropractors discover the value of chiropractic and helping them teach it to their population, to their community, so that their practice can grow and that chiropractic has a greater impact on the population. And in recent times, he has been teaching the Everest Day 1 and Day 2 boot camp. And so today, the topic of our conversation is really going to be focusing on Day 1, Day 2. Dr. Mike Southwick, welcome to the Light Vision Project. So glad to have you with us today.
Hey, thanks for Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for having me this morning. This is fantastic.
Well, I know everybody's busy. It's the holiday season, and even more so the fact that you took time, I'm very grateful. Excuse me. So let's get right into it.
Sure.
Chiropractors have often been heard. You might have said it. I know I've said it many, many times. If they knew what I know, they would do what I do. If they knew what we know, they would do what we do. So having people understand the value of chiropractic care, like their overall health and well-being, we know that for most, that requires a huge paradigm shift. They've been bombarded in the medical paradigm for years, so it requires a huge paradigm shift. Can you describe for our audience listening in how that paradigm shift can actually begin, starting with Day 1 and Day 2, if you utilize the proper procedures?
Yeah, absolutely. I think the biggest thing to know and to think of is that they're not going to get it on Day 1 and Day 2, number one, okay? You know, how long have we been? I've been in practice for 17 years, you just a few years longer. And
37.
Right? And hopefully, just like in my meditation, my quiet time this morning, I had new thoughts, new revelations, all these sorts of things this morning after 17 years. So on Day 1 and Day 2, is someone really going to quote unquote get it? We would hope so, but I'm saying no. I'm saying that on Day 1 and Day 2, they're calling my office for a very specific reason. They have a problem, okay? And they're hoping to heck that I have some sort of solution. And I know and I realize that they've probably been to 2 to 3 other providers, possibly. They've searched WebMD. They've done all these other things. And then they're coming to me wanting to be fixed in one visit, you know, having me pay for it and that whole deal. And so am I going to flip them around on Day 1 and Day 2? I'm not even trying to do that. What I am trying to do is on Day 1, get them to actually bring their problem out in the open so we can both look at it. You know, we want to have this, I like the image of having this problem. They come in with their problem behind their back, right? No one wants to admit what's going on because then that would take time, that would take money, that would take commitment to actually correct that. They know that, okay? So they're going to try to bring this, they're going to have their problem in their back. It's my job on Day 1 to bring out this problem and say, well, here it is. It's been happening this long. You've tried this, and this. But I know you're not actually here for this problem. You're here for what this problem is not allowing in your life. Okay, so let's get to the real meat of this deal. So that's my objective in Day 1 is to say, here's our real problem, and this is really what it's restricting in your life. From there, then, I guess I don't have a real quote unquote philosophical chiropractic Day 1. Even though my understanding, we can talk philosophy, I can talk neurology, I can talk chemistry, and I really do, and I talk that to docs, but it's not on Day 1, and it's not, and I don't even, I guess, let people know what I think of life, what I think of the body, what I think of this fearfully and wonderfully made deal. That has, in my mind, zero place, because they have a problem. They want to know, they want to feel secure that I may have a solution for them that I'm going to talk with them about on Day 2. I don't talk with it about on day one. And then day two is all about building the value from the information that you gleaned on day one, okay, from your consultation and your exam. And we do a set of motion x-rays, and so we can talk about that. That's very, very fundamental to our day one and day two, so that the patient on day two says, oh, doc, there it is. There's my subluxation. That's what's choking the nerve. That's what's shutting down the body, and that's what we've got to correct. They can literally, as I'm pointing to the screen, they can point to my films and say, there it is. Now, I like to deal in black and whites, and I tell my patients I like to deal in black and whites. In black and white, can you see where the problem is? Yes, doc. Okay, this is what we're going to do. This is how long it's going to take. This is how much it's going to cost. Let's get her going.
And so as it relates to the shift in their paradigm, what I'm hearing you say is that is really just the first step in getting them to recognize that there is a problem, but that the problem is actually, it's not the problem that's bringing them into you, it's what the problem is not allowing them to do. For example, a mother who can't pick her child out of a crib, a grandfather who can't sit on the floor and play with the grandchildren. It's not the pain in his back that's going to stop him or that's going to cause him to go see you, but it's rather his inability to get down and love his grandchildren.
Exactly. And that has to be vetted out, right? And so I'm okay because I know what chiropractic, the value in their life, I'm okay going that next step. Okay, so say a wife comes in and she's like, okay, I've got this back pain, I can't work out. Great. Well, if you could work out, what would that do for you? Well, I could lose weight. Great. Well, if you could lose weight, what would that do for you? And then, not that I'm looking for tears or anything, but then she's like, then my husband would find me more attractive. And like, oh, that's what it is. That's why you're here. And someone will, quote unquote, buy chiropractic or whatever my care plan is because they want to save their marriage versus back pain. Does that make sense?
It makes total sense because I'm asking you those tongue-in-cheek questions of sorts because I know exactly where you're going to go. That's how I ran my practice. I mean, my final question in all my consultations was, so tell me, Michael, how's this really affecting your life? And we got down to that root. So that in itself, what you just shared, is a magic bullet in helping chiropractors connect with their new patients on day two or day one, right? Start the connection process.
And so the art form becomes when you have a guy sitting in front of you, we're like, nah, it doesn't affect my life. Really? Well, if you woke up tomorrow morning without a trace of this pain, what would be even better? So people, again, they're not going to come right out and say, hey, you know what, my marriage is failing. I don't think my husband thinks I'm sexy anymore. And, that's why I'm here. Never going to happen. It's a true art form to get people to bring that problem from the back to the front and say, hey, this is the real deal. This is really what I'm here for. I need to know in my heart and in my gut that I can trust you to bring about that, what we call life effect. And so I think that's the crux of day one. I think it really is. We can do lots of things, lots of exams, but when we have that unmet visceral emotional need and it's out in the open, then we go.
So again, I'm going to ask you a question. I know the answer, but I want you to share them with the audience. Once you know that, once you have that nugget of information, how do you utilize that information moving into day two, day three, and so on?
Okay, so going into day two then you'll do your exam. You'll do your touch and tell, you'll do your exam, whatever that is. Specifically, we teach doctors how to do a 4-view motion study. And then what we do is we have an overlay where they can see where their motion is, where their motion is not, i.e. where their subluxations are. We link that to the nervous system, link that to their life effect, whatever that is, say, that's what we're going to correct to get you your sexy back, get you your golf swing back, get you your whatever back. And so I really feel like a patient needs to be able, like I said before, to say, okay, there's my problem. Even if neurologically, even if technique-wise, we know in our hearts that we're not going to go possibly exactly from an x-ray, you know that. But the patient can say, there it is. And then when we're done with our care plan, I love to sit there and know that I'm going to retake those x-rays, and then they can compare their very first ones to their second ones and say, hey, in black and white, here's where it was, here's where it's corrected. I'm not sure why every chiropractor doesn't do this. Okay? And that's my own deal, because we need to be able to function in confidence and certainty. That's where the people say, hey, in my heart, I know you're going to do this for me, and I know that you're going to have a way to show me when it's corrected. Not that I feel better, not that I, this and that. We're going to have a concrete black and white way to show them where it was, where it's not, and then go from there. And then as far as our philosophy goes, that happens day 3 through day 36 or day 52 or day 88, day 210. So I guess we could talk about that, and that's an art form in itself going forward. What I really specify in, within chiropractic, I guess, what I really specify in is, let's make sure that we vet that problem first. Let's make sure that we at least lock into a care plan where you can have a chance to have them on your table long enough to, number one, get results, number two, change that paradigm. But it doesn't happen on day 1 and day 2 in my experience.
Sure, because the reality, I mean, you just said 2 key points here, is that have them on your table long enough. In other words, have them have their body physiologically experience enough adjustments so that correction starts to take place, so that function starts to change. As that happens, mindset starts to change. So let's say we pick that time zone between their first adjustment, which I'm going to assume happens on day 2. Am I correct? So from their first adjustment on day 2 to, let's say, their next reevaluation, which is visit 36. Is that what you were saying? Or whatever it might be. So what has to happen in your practice to build on your day 1, day 2 relationship that's been created because you've shown the value, or you've shown the problem, you've enhanced the potential value, and they've made a commitment to work with you? What has to now happen for them to get to the point where by their first reevaluation, let's say, or their second reevaluation, that they buy into the process that chiropractic is a lifestyle for life?
Dude, okay, so this is what is so exciting. It literally gives me tingles because I thought about this even this morning in my meditation. Because that's what life vision to me is. Because for each chiropractor, this is, by the way, it's probably not my specialty. I'm sharing from my heart what I see it as. I see it as this, and it's possibly different for every chiropractor, and it changes and grows and molds and everything. So I guess for me, it's like, what needs to happen? Well, how do you see life? How do you see people? How do you see, literally, what is your vision? Do we love chiropractic and tolerate people? Or do we love people and figure out what has to happen? And if we love people, how do we see people? Okay, not to get religious or anything, how does God see people? How does universal intelligence see people? It's like, if you look at someone and like, Jill, you're a masterpiece. You are a creation in the image of Almighty, whatever you want to say. If I'm looking at you that way, and I'm looking at every patient that way, and by the way, I was in the office this morning, and, I grabbed my coffee and I'm rolling into the office, and I was like, holy crap, there's like 7 cars in the parking lot, and it's Friday. So I just go in at 7:30. I see kind of some makeup visits, and I'm out of there by 8 o'clock. But we saw 15 people and a new patient that was so cool. But if my vision of those 15 people, even at that speed, is like, you're a masterpiece, your nervous system runs your masterpiece, the adjustment then restarts that nerve system, And this restarting process is my first 36 visits, many times, not all the time. I'm just giving some rough numbers. Okay, we've restarted. Now we've taken a new picture. Now we have to we've restarted. Now we're restoring. Okay, we're going to restore, for a period of time, and then we're going to fine tune and we're going to maintain that high level. So I'm looking at people and I'm seeing this is a masterpiece that's got to be taken care of. And if it's not, we're going to have consequences. If it's only restarted and then we stop, we're going to have to restart again at some point. If it's restarted, restored, and then stopped, we're going to probably have to restart at some point. But if it's restarted, restored, fine-tuned, and it's how do we get that vision to the patient? I'm okay saying that, hey, I believe your body is a masterpiece. I know that neurologically this is what happens when you're under stress, and I know this is, and I'm maybe talking about my workshop here, I know that when you're under stress, this chemistry kicks out and it's going to do these things. I know that when we have you in a growth and healing mode, this is the chemistry that you're going to hang out in. And you know what? I just tell my patients in simple terms, every adjustment, man, we're kicking that nursing home way down the road. We're going to kick it so far down the road that we never get to the front door. Things like that, super simple, but I believe a chiropractor has to know the complex. Patrick says this, the simplicity on the other side of complexity. I realized that I couldn't talk like that unless I knew the neurology, unless I knew the chemistry, unless I knew that sympathetic dominant state and the havoc and everything that can bring in someone's life. And so I guess day 1 and day 2, get them committed, okay? Day 2 through day, whatever, show them your heart, show them what you believe, show them what's possible in their life. Be an example for them. Be an example, okay? And in my 17 years, I do things different today than I did in, crazy beer drinking days type of stuff, not that, but you know what I mean?
Yes.
We take care of ourselves different, and we have to know that they're looking at us. Okay, you're saying these things, but then, what's your life like? Dane Donahue taught me, and I know you've talked with him so long ago. It's like, hey, what's he say? Don't look at something towards, I can't hear what you're saying. I don't know. Anyway, but it's like lifestyle.
No. Who you are speaks so loudly, I can't hear a word you're saying.
Sorry. Yes, exactly. Who you are speaks so loudly, I can't hear a word you're saying.
And you're right. They watch you. They watch every move. They watch how you behave. They watch how you behave in your office. But you know what? They watch how you behave in your community. Yeah. They ask questions. They pay attention. So who we are being speaks so loudly. And if we are not being what we're attempting to get them to understand, then we live what David Jackson refers, or rather Patrick Gentile refers to as a life of contradiction.
You're absolutely right. So this morning, just a real 2-second story is that this new patient that was here this morning, I said, what brings you in? He said, Facebook. I said, Facebook? Really? Because I don't do any Facebook ads. He said, Facebook? Really? He says, I just said, Beatrice, Nebraska, chiropractor, who's the best? Okay. And he said, I got literally 60, 70, quote unquote, comments. He said they weren't all about you, but many of them were. I said, well, cool. Well, what was, so we went from there. So yeah, whether you like it or not, whether you want to, admit it, they're looking at you, they're seeing what you're doing, they're looking at your family, they're looking at whatever. So that's exciting. And that's that's to me what life vision is constantly renewing how much we know, what we believe, what is our philosophy, how do we take care of ourselves. If we really believe that we are a masterful creation, well, then maybe we start to take care of ourselves a little different at different stages of our life. And, I've not done it right all the time, but I constantly learn and constantly grow.
What I'm hearing you say, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe what I'm hearing you say is that it is imperative that we be genuine and authentic at all times.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And if we truly love people and truly love chiropractic, that's a dynamite combo, because we will constantly learn, dig, want to know more. I have a constant urgency. It's like if we have a break at the office, my team hates that because I'm going to like meddle in them. You know what I mean? They're like, holy crap. But I'm like, no, I'm here. I'm at the office. I want to be used. I want my hands on people. I take that very seriously, because if they are a wonderfully and fearfully made instrument organ for their mission in their life, that means that when I put my hands on them, holy buckets, that's a huge responsibility. And I want to know that I'm doing it as the best I can. I want to know from everyone else in the profession how I can do it better, how I can communicate it better. And hopefully, that's what's so exciting about Life Vision, when you start to see some things that you've personally thought about and trained for all your life starting to happen. That's what's so exciting for me right now in this stage of my life, and to work with other chiropractors. But when I can, I just want to be used, if that makes sense. I just want to be used to my utmost. Had an exciting morning. Saw some patients. Had a really quick church meeting. I'm on the computer with you right now. I want to be going all the time, and I want to be digging.
A line that I've learned years ago that I use all the time, I said, by the time I die, I want to have played all my music. I want no music left inside me. So whatever gifts, talents that we were given by the Creator, that we would use them to the best of our ability. And I love the fact that you talked about seeing every person that you meet as a masterpiece. That's how I've chosen to see it. And you probably know that I'm a sports car lover. And so often, with one of my cars, somebody will say, oh my gosh, what a masterpiece. And they'll describe what they see in a car. And I said, and I use this line, have you ever saw yourself as a masterpiece? They go, huh? And so people typically have not seen themselves as a masterpiece. So as a chiropractor, understanding the neurology, the physiology, understanding the histology of the human being, if we just start right there, see ourselves as a masterpiece, not from an ego-driven perspective, but just see as the masterpiece of the creation, and then we start seeing other people that way, and then sharing that with them, allowing them to see the masterful masterpiece that they are. That's a big part of the communication strategy to get them to heal, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. Huge. So I guess in my day one and day two, I'm very much through Everest boot camps telling you this is what you do, okay, to get them on your table long enough. Now, from there, what would have to happen that they understand chiropractic, the human body, whatever your vision of that chiropractor, whatever would have to happen over those next 36 whatever visits to have them see the body like you see the body, that's what you need to talk about. Well, I don't know how to do that. Well, maybe you need to dig deeper. Okay, maybe you need to understand physiology more. Maybe you need to grab into your philosophy more, those sorts of things. I specialize in making sure that patient's on your table long enough. Now, let's use Life Vision. Let's use any and all resources. Let's use, science. Let's use philosophy. Let's use art, and let's craft your experience for that patient to where towards where they re-sign or whatever you want to say, okay, when they're going into that restoration care or fine-tuning or whatever it is, that they say, you know what, I am a masterpiece. You know what, and to take care of this masterpiece, I know that the nerve system runs it. It's probably smart for me to take care of that nerve system. And that's as simple as it is. So whatever has to happen in between those two, man, just keep digging and just keep listening to guys that have done it many, many, many years, know the specifics, but know how to put it into layman's terms.
I said, you said 17 years for you. I said 37 for me. Actually, it'd be 38 years in April that I graduated. And I'm going to turn around for a sec because I'm wondering if our masterpiece is up here. But what I want to talk about... Yes, there we go. I've got green books behind me, but I also have green books in the living room, so I didn't know if our masterpiece, when you talked about our masterpiece, I mean, look, I still have tabs on these books because there's areas that I want to go back to all the time. And so even though I've been a chiropractor that long, I've been reading the green books since I discovered them. And I spend, 5-10 minutes every day. I just pick one up and I open it up, whatever. I can tell you, honestly, I've never read one of them from cover to cover, from page one to the last page, but I've read probably most pages in all of them. And I just pick it up and I read it. And every time when I pick it up, I go, oh my gosh, that's exactly what I needed to read today, to set the focus straight so that I could show up ready to deliver a day 1 or a day 2 or a day 165.
Yep.
And I think that's what I was hearing you say, that people need to go dig down and figure out, how am I going to develop the certainty? So you be it, you live it, to make sure you're not in contradiction, and then you've got to discover how to get there. So how did you discover that? How did you discover your light vision? Believe it or not, we're at 26 minutes and we got 4 minutes left. So how did you discover your light vision? How do you get to live it every day?
I get frustrated easy. And when I get frustrated, I was like, son of a gun, I have got to figure this out. I've got to figure this out because there are people that need what I know, and it frustrates the living crap out of me to not be able to communicate, So that has led me to different mentors, teachers, over 17 years, and even before that, I started with an injury, and many people start with an injury, and that's what got me into chiropractic. But even B.C. Hagen in Sioux Falls, South Dakota, when I was playing basketball, perhaps been 20 some years ago now, when he adjusted me and he explained chiropractic in the simplest terms, I simply said to him, if I could ever do for someone what you've done for me, even in these last 2 weeks, okay, sign me up. And it started there. And he had a vision for chiropractic. He had a big, beautiful office. That started me. I just thought every chiropractor had this big, huge, beautiful office that's, skylights and stone and all these sorts of things. And so I just created that. I just thought everyone did that, and that's driven, I guess. So what you start with starts to drive your life vision. What you see, chiropractic, and that's what I really got to this morning is, what do you see when you look at a patient? What do you see when you look at your community? What do you see? I mean, do you see a dollar sign? I probably did in the get-go because I was like, shit, I got these student loans and I've got these, to a degree, but at the same time, I was so stoked for what had happened to me in my chiropractic experience, but you could see a dollar sign. I think beyond that, we could see results, because we love our techniques and we want to see results, but still seeing results is like, oh, look at me, I got results for you. Or we could see, I think at least right now, and it may change and it probably will change in the future, but for me, I've finally gotten to the point where I'm like, I see you as a person. I see you as wonderfully made. I see you with responsibility for your children. I see you with responsibility for your work, for your community, and it's my job through the adjustment to stir the pot, to relight the fire, to get that nerve system restarted, restored, fine-tuned, and maintained so you can do whatever your mission for God in the world is, whatever that is. You have your own mission. My work in that is to excite your nerve system so you function at the highest level. So I guess I see moms and I see grandmas and I see dads and I see, all these people. And I just think, man, if I could part that my first chiropractor played in my life that set me on a path that went crazy, okay, if I can set them on a path that makes their life freaking crazy and awesome, that's what I'm here for.
Man, beautiful message. How these 30 minutes doing these modules go by so fast. Sometimes I wish I could stay on for hours, but I know that the best thing to do is to give our heart, to give the best of what we got, to share our pearls of wisdom, all these beautiful nuggets in short containers so that people can listen to them, learn from them, grow from them, and then come celebrate with us at Light Vision. As I mentioned earlier, I mean, you you were with us at Light Vision in July, I believe. And time goes by so fast, but with us when we hosted the Talk to Tick competition. And I'm so glad that you got involved in helping young students develop their ability to speak, and that you'll be involved with Talk to Tick coming again in 2017.